Hey everybody, Regular 31 back here for FSi DFS. Split slate Wednesday. We've got a 4 game slate early on at 110, and then um FanDuel and DK again couldn't agree. So FanDuel's got 5 game slate starting, I think, at like 7:40, and then DK just took the 4 late games. So I think theirs starts at like 9:38 or 9:40 or something like that at night. So there's gonna be a huge gap in between there. So I'm gonna look to cover both of them for us today here. So just make sure I have the right slate up for you. Yep, there's early. So, anyways, cool to see Judge hit his 61st home run yesterday, finally, after 7 games of waiting for it. They're off today, so we'll see in the next 7 games how far he can get. So that's kind of cool. Thank you for still watching and grinding out baseball. I know a lot of our things are starting to go on right now, but still a chance to make money. So, uh, play lightly in cash because things like I'm trying to build my cash lines based on teams that are still in it, which not everybody has everything wrapped up, so there are still opportunities. There's some people that are going to be free agents, they're playing for contracts, so we tried to factor it into cash. The cash isn't as safe the next week, so just be very careful, play lightly there. GPP, it's a great time because so many things could happen, that it's great to just to experiment on things here and there. Maybe like a 20 max, like $4 one, if that's within your bankroll. Like, don't, just, or if you're 150 maxing, just do like the 5 or 25 cent one on FanDuel or 25 cents on DK. You don't want to go too far in. So hopefully anybody that's in Florida has friends and family is doing okay with the storm system going on there. So luckily Tampa Bay's on the road. The Marlins play in a dome, so I think the biggest concern, it's not going to be today, but tomorrow. Just watch the weather for like the Braves and the Phillies. I think, or the Braves and the Mets series is kind of in jeopardy. Philly and Washington have 4 games between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we'll just keep an eye on that, and we'll definitely be bringing you updated information. So today, weather looks good. 2 slates. Let's get into it. So first slate we have is so 110, we have the Royals and the Tigers. I know I'm doing this a little bit late. It's only probably going to be, by the time I post this, an hour and a half before lock. But the benefit also is we get to see some of the lines here, and with like the teams being out of it and subbing, it kind of gives us I'd hate to do a video and talk about some guys I love and then not being in the lineup. So it kind of helps with that. So first up, we have Kansas City and Detroit. So we have Jonathan Heasley and Eduardo Rodriguez. And I actually like both these pitchers here. Erod, I know he's like had some struggles, but he's come back, and recently, just looking at him, played the White Sox back to back, so that kind of hurt him with that. And then he had a bad game against Houston, but he's been pretty solid. I think it's a good matchup against Kansas City here. There's some strikeouts in this lineup, so I definitely think that he can get anywhere from like 14 to 18 DK points. So I definitely like him as an SP2 candidate here. Heasley, I think, is sneaky also. I'd probably like him more of a GPP, but he's one that, if you look at his box score, he's had, out of the last 5 starts, he's had 4 quality starts. And the lone one that he didn't was against Detroit, which is, who he's playing today. But at Detroit previous, he had 13.8 DK points. It wasn't bad. He went 7 innings in there. He's not a huge strikeout guy. Only allowed 2 earned runs, 1 home run. Had a couple of strikeouts. So we're not expecting any more, like maybe 5 strikeout max with him. But I don't think he's gonna like super get blown up on anything. So I think both pitchers are in play. Obviously, both offenses are kind of in play in the GPP on such a small slate. So next up, we have the Chicago White Sox and the Minnesota Twins. 60 degrees there. Wind is blowing out in the first game a little bit, but not too much to affect anything in Detroit. So Giolito, I think, is going to be very, very popular. I prefer Ranger Suarez as my SP1, but don't really have an issue playing there. Again, we don't know, like, some of these veteran pitchers that are out there, like how many innings they pitch. If they're not pitching for anything, they still want to keep them fresh and continue to go out there and play. But if he gets in trouble, or it's like how deep is he going to go, like how much effort is going to be put into it. The Twins are putting out the best lineup they have. Obviously Buxton is still out, so a lot of righties here, not many lefties against him. So I think he's definitely in play. Again, I prefer Suarez, but if you want to pivot off, then I'm fine. If you want to pay up for both pitchers in cash, if you can make that work, Suarez and Giolito, I'm fine with that too. Varland, he's a young prospect that can throw like up to like 96, so he's got a lot of velocity, a lot of potential, but I really just don't like what I've seen so far from him. I think this is let's see, his third outing, and he's been in like single DK points, so I'm not really even interested. I mean, if you're mass multi-entering, that's fine. He's gone 5 in at least each one, but 3 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 2 earned runs. I had 7 strikeouts in one game against the Yankees, but so the potential is there, but and I know the White Sox can lay an egg every so often too. So I don't know how to take him. I think he's a cheap option, but I'm not like super stoked about him. Bat wise, I think the White Sox definitely make a decent stack against him at GPP. And Minnesota is always cheap, and there's some good like the lefties here, like Rays at 3-2. Second base is just a wasteland on every single site today. So at 2-8, I might play Nick Gordon in every single one of my lineup, and he is confirmed in hitting 6, which isn't ideal, but it's a decent second baseman with a split average that has some power and some speed. Now we have the rubber match, finally, game 4 of Baltimore and the Red Sox. 22 runs in the first 2 games. I think the last yesterday was like 2-1 or 3-2 or something like that. So winds blowing in today, 11 miles per hour. So that should knock hitting down just a little bit. We have Mike Baumann, who is absolutely not a good pitcher, kind of a neutral splits guy. So righties and lefties here. And then we have Eovaldi, who's coming back off of a shoulder strain. He only pitched 3 innings in the minors for 1 tune-up start. I don't think he's going very deep into the game today. He is playing for a contract. He's trying to get this start in at least one more before the end of the season because he's going to be a free agent. I don't think the Red Sox are going to bring him back, and he wants to show his stuff. So there's some incentive, but how far are they going to let him go? But if they are going to let him go after the end of the season, do they really care how much he's out there and throwing with his shoulder that might be a little banged up? We'll just have to see with that. Red Sox bullpen behind him is not great. Baltimore's is. I mean, they did get a chance to rest up of some guys after like using almost everybody in the first 2 games of the series. So I really like Boston as a top stack, and I think Baltimore is definitely a GPP. I wouldn't really game stack it here because I'm preferring in cash if you are playing cash, or like your top line to be Boston and Philly. They're just in such better matchups, but I think the Orioles are definitely going to be sneaky, and I'm going to have some ownership of that. Then the final game here, as I said, is Philly and the Cubs in Chicago. Wind blowing in about 6 miles per hour, 61 degrees. So that's not complete. Gonna like kill the bats here. Ranger Suarez has had a solid season. The Cubs look like they're going to throw all righties at him here. Bote's probably going to lead off. Has some power. Hasn't shown it much recently. Contreras has it. Suzuki's back in the lineup. Reyes. So you can like the Cubs here, and I think definitely they're somebody that you can throw in a GPP leverage stack. But I think Suarez is the Phillies have so much to play for here. They're on the cusp of being taken over by Milwaukee. It's so close to the wild card. So I think he goes out there again. If he struggles, maybe gets pulled early, but I think he'll be locked in. He'll do well. The wind in, will help a little bit, and I think he'll have a good game. So he's my SP1 here. And then definitely like the Philly left-handed bats against FSi, who again is a neutral to reverse splits guy, but I'm still fine with the righties. So Schwarber, Hoskin, Hopper, Baum, I think is good at third base here. Castellanos is back. I really don't trust him much. Segura might be a good option at second base also if you can get up to him at 3-8. I prefer Gordon, I think a little bit less than that. So definitely like the Phillies here, and then the Cubs on the other side are just going to be a GPP leverage stack. So let's look at lineup builds, and then we'll go on to the main and the late one for DK. So Suarez and Erod is where I'm going. If you want to take like a shot on Halsey or Varland as your SP2, I'm fine with that. If you want to go up to Giolito, that's fine too. It's a small slate, but those are 2 I feel the most confident in. So catcher, I'm probably going to punt. Casas, I like at first base. I mean, you can take Hoskins if you can get up to him. I think it's definitely doable. Second base, like I said, you're probably going to punt somebody there. Gordon's one of my favorite ones to fill in there, or Segura to go with the Philly stack side of things. Deaver, Xander Bogart, Harper, and Schwarber, maybe throw in Pham there, or, if you want to take a one-off in outfield, whatever seems to work. For FanDuel, I'm going to take Suarez. Again, I'm taking Casas. Devers at third base, Pham, Harper, Schwarber in the outfield. So then fill in the rest with Boston and Philly guys. You're gonna have to take a one off. And again, I said like the one off is probably going to be second base for me. It's probably Gordon. I think he's only like 2K there on FanDuel or like really close to minimum price. So that definitely works out really well. For a GPP, we're looking at Giolito and Hazley. There, then I'm taking. I just took the guys that I want for Baltimore. All of them, I believe, are in Rushman, Mountcastle, Henderson, Santander, and Mullins. And then I might fill in with some KC guys here. At like I think you can get. Who can we afford here? You're probably gonna take a cheap one off, but you can go like if you go like Melendez and if like Witt, will fill in. We'll have to see, or some cheap guys, whatever works. Fill out your lineup. I'm taking Erod and on FanDuel, Rushman. Second race is just like barf. It's just throw up. There's really not anybody good there. I'll probably again will take Gordon. Third base, Henderson, Mullins, Santander, Jimenez. Here's also what I think I'd fill in with KC if possible, or some White Sox. So definitely some ways to go there. So let's move on to Maine. So again, we have the game that's only on FanDuel. We have Braxton Garrett and Eric Lauer here. I kind of like Braxton Garrett. He's been solid, and Milwaukee has struggled. I know they're playing for the playoffs, but I think that you can definitely play him as a pitcher in GPPs. On FanDuel, I think it'll be quite popular with his price point. Milwaukee stack makes sense. Definitely lefties, or he is lefty, so like lacking the righties here. So Adames, Renfroe, Brucheo should move into. McCutcheon might lead off, so there's a nice stack for you there. Miami, Lauer struggled. Maybe sprinkle in if you need some cheap bats, but I'm not super excited. So let's move on to the 9:38 games where DK starts. So Oakland and the Angels. Cole Irvin, I think, is in play in a GPP. I think Trout and Ward and Renfroe and Duffy, like I think like the right-handers will be popular against him, but he hasn't been super bad. So, GPP definitely in play. Shohei Ohtani is probably going to be the top pitcher on the slate. Again, he's a free agent, so the Angels are trying to re-sign him. We'll see what happens there. So I think he'll want to go out there and finish the season strong. So, and should be able to dominate this Oakland lineup with no issue whatsoever. I haven't seen that there's a pitch count or anything on him. So bat wise, I think the Angels make a definitely, like I said, there's going to be a stack, and Oakland would probably be the least likely one that I use on the slate on DK against Ohtani. But if he has an off night or something, or gets a blister after the first inning, and then Oakland, not too much power, but can put up some runs here and there. So, if you want to play a YOLO stack of them and see if you can win all the money, you're probably gonna have a ton of salary left over. And for both slates, you don't try to use up all your salary. Just take the best guys that you want in your lineup. If you're leaving a couple $100, you maybe even 1,000 on the table, that's perfectly fine. Because sometimes if you try to pay up for a guy that's not in a great situation, the guy that's lower priced, just treat this kind of like going forward as like spring training. Put the best guys in your lineup and don't worry about how much money is left. Next up, we have Rangers and Mariners. The Mariners are still in it. But John Gray here has been a decent pitcher, and Seattle's been struggling recently. I think they've lost like maybe 3 in a row. So Gonzalez on the other side, he's really struggled recently also. So really like Texas, and I see I have them on here twice. So who did I forget and not put in here? It'd be Colorado's there, San Francisco's there. Sorry about this. Angels, Oakland, Rangers. Oh, the Mariners should be there. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have the Mariners in there. Okay, so Texas and Seattle. Just looking at it here, I really like Texas. They are definitely decent hitting spot here, especially the righties against Gonzalez. Seattle, like maybe mixing some of the lefties there, but I think I really like John Gray as a pitcher. Probably going to be my SP2 in cash playing with Ohtani. So looks like we might have lost video. 1 second here. Just see if I get that back. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, technical difficulties. Moving on here. Next up, we have Los Angeles and the Padres. I think this will be a high-scoring game. Wind's blowing out, 74 degrees, probably one of the nicest baseball atmospheres. You're going to have an opener with Brudston Gastrol or Grastrol. I've never really heard of him, probably a prospect they're bringing up. And then Heaney's going to be the long reliever. He had an absolutely horrible start last time out. I think he gave up 11. The team gave up 11 runs. He gave up a bunch, got hit pretty good. And the Padres are still trying to solidify. They've lost one, and they're only like 2.5 up on Philly and Milwaukee to maintain that wild card spot also. So with it like 7 games around for most of these, or 8 games left, I mean, there's definitely a chance for the Padres to collapse and Milwaukee and Philly to get those 2 spots. So they have to keep their foot on the gas. And Manera has not been great either against the Dodgers lineup. They're not going to get up to the record, which I think they have 107 wins. I think it was like 118 is what the record with the Mariners had. So they're not going to make major league history for wins. They're definitely locked into everything, but they still keep on throwing their decent lineups. I think you'll see like Houston's doing, like these guys will get some rest, but it might be like Freeman gets the night off, or Muncy, the lefties, is starting against lefty. I think they'll start the righties. So again, I'm not touching the Dodgers situation here. Even like Heaney against the Padres, and Manea is very, very risky also. So Dodgers bats, give me the righties. Betts, Turner, Smith, Chris Taylor, Trey Thompson, and some of the other guys down the lineup if you want to make a full 5-man one there. And then give me some of the righties here for Padres. Give me Profar, give me Machado, Drury. Bell's not been great. Myers, Kim might lead off here because there's going to be a lefty. So if that's the case, I really like him at shortstop. Finally, we have Colorado, San Francisco. We have Ryan Feltner and Carlos Rodon. Feltner's a no. Rodon looks like he's in a great matchup here, but they've only let him go like 4 or 5 innings recently. They're trying to limit him, and he's struggled with walks recently. So Colorado's not a great team, but the wind is blowing out here 12 miles per hour. Again, it's San Francisco, so the power kind of neutralizes that. It's more like having the wind blowing out 6 miles per hour, so it's a little bit an A, but not as much as if it was blowing out 12 at like Fenway, Chicago, or New York, or some other place like that. So Colorado's GPP stack against Rodon, especially the righties. So I'd definitely load up on them in GPP. And San Francisco, I think, makes sense in Casher against Feltner. I think he's more of a reverse splits guy, so I like the righties, but I'm fine with the lefties. Like if Wade Jr.'s in there, Peterson, Yastrzemski, I'm okay with them. But looking at Lestrada, Flores, Davis, pretty much, maybe even David Villar, if he moves up in the lineup, wins the minimum price catcher. So that's where I'm going with that. So let's look up these builds, and I'll get you on your way for your day. So first one, like I said, Ohtani and Gray I'm taking. If you want to take another SP2, I'm fine with that. But I think those 2 are the safest ones. And JD or Flores at first base. Punting catcher might take wins there, or if I have some more money, maybe get up to the Texas one. Semien, Young, like the right-handed Texas bats I really like here. Shortstop, or whatever fits for you in your stack. If Crawford, or if there's somebody for Texas, I don't know if Seager is playing, he's day to day, so we'll have to see what that would be. Lefty matchups, so, and it's kind of expensive, so I don't know if it'll fit in the stack. Estrada, Garcia from Texas there, and then I'll probably see whatever outfilders left. If Wade Jr.'s in there, Peterson's in there, Yastrzemski, if Slater's in there, like there's a righty, if he leads off or something, I might throw him in there. So for cash for FanDuel, taking Ohtani again, Flores, Estrada, Semien, third base. I'll have to see. I think Young is. I have him in utility, but I might move him up to third base there. Shortstop, same thing. If you can get up to Semien, Crawford, take a 1 off. Peterson, Garcia, and then whatever San Francisco outfielder fits again. Peterson, Yastrzemski, Wade Jr. I think my preference would be Peterson, Wade Jr., Yastrzemski. But if Slater's in there leading off as a righty, then I think I take him above everybody else. And then for GPP, and he might not want to play GPP on the slate. It's a hard one. Gonzalez, I really don't know who to tell you for SP2, maybe, but I know what to do with the bats here. And the bats is we want to stack San Francisco, or we want to stack San Diego and the Dodgers. So I think I'm going to build the bats, and then Gonzalez and whatever pitcher works for me there. That's how I think I'm going to build that. Obviously, if you can get up to Smith at catcher, I mean, I wouldn't play like Feltner, but maybe Irvin if you can work him in there against the Angels. Like, and if he can at least make value, and Gonzalez, like the pitching's gonna be risky here. But I think if these bats go off and the pitchers just have blah games and don't get blown up, give up some runs, and if you can get like 20 points out of the pitchers combined, but your stacks go off and this game ends up like 8-6 or something, or we've seen some pretty high scoring games recently, because remember San Diego was trying, and San Francisco, or sorry, I did give it San Francisco. The Dodgers really don't want their division rival to make the playoffs, so they're going to do everything too. So I'm hoping a lot of fireworks in that game. I'm hoping a lot of runs are scored. I'm going for the bats. I'm punting the pitching, and we'll see what happens. And then for FanDuel, I'm going to use Garrett as my GPP pitcher. And the same thing, I'm going to go with the Dodgers and the San Diego stack. But I also said if you want to throw Milwaukee into GPP, then I'm okay with that too. Just don't use Garrett as your pitcher. Maybe go with Gray there, or another one. So that's what I have for you. Sorry, it's a long video for such, but the two small slates, wanted to try to give you some options just to. A lot of people will be focused on Thursday night football tonight, getting ready for NFL and college this weekend. EPL is coming back, so other things might have their attention. So it might be a good night to make some money on these smaller slates. So as always, leave some comments and questions in chat below. Try to get back to you and help if anything majorly changes for these slates. So throw out some information there, probably about half an hour before lock. So check back on that. And you can always hit me up on Twitter at MegaWorth31. And again, we've got 1 week left in the season. Thanks for so grinding it out with us. So if these videos help you, please like our videos. Helps us get it out to more people. Share with your friends. Subscribe to our channel so you know our videos are coming out. And check out the description of the video. If you're new to FSI, just check out our website. Just join the Discord community and you'll see what we have. Like a lot of things are under the beyond the pricing wall, but there are some things that are wide open. Some like NFL pools and things that you can get into, like pick'ems and different like squares. We do run it weekly for like the bigger games on Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, things like that. So lots of cool things that we offer. And EuroLeague basketball should be coming back next week too. So like should be, I usually cover that free of charge. So many things to take advantage of, and just check out our pricing because everything that we offer is very, very reasonable. So thanks again for watching. I'm MegaRuler31. McKinley will have the video tomorrow. I'll have the video on Saturday. We'll take Sunday off, and then we'll figure out the next week. Probably do a playoff preview coming up too. So looking forward to exciting end of the regular season and postseason. So thanks again for watching. See you next time.